Olivia stepped out of the club into the cool night air, still hearing the faint beat of loud music behind her. The street was almost empty, and the only movement was a stray rapper skittering across the pavement. It was just past 1 a.m., and Olivia pulled her phone from her purse, intended to book a cab. Her eyes caught on a red stain on her white tunic sleeve, peeking from beneath her jacket. She frowned, quickly covering it up and glancing across the quiet street. She tapped her phone, searching for a ride, but all the nearby cabs were unavailable. With a frustrated sigh, she scanned the street once more, noticing an old yellow taxi parked in the shadows of a nearby alley. She hesitated, but with no other options, she waved to it. The engine roared to life, headlights flaring as the taxi rolled over to her. Olivia opened the door, immediately greeted by the smell of cheap air freshener mixed with something she couldn't quite identify. Ignoring the strange scent, she climbed in, giving her address, 13th Avenue. The driver gave a silent nod, and the taxi pulled onto the street. The cool night air flowed in through the slightly open window, and Olivia leaned back, watching the world pass by in a blur. Her eyes grew heavy, and before she knew it, she had dozed off. A sudden jolt brought her back to consciousness. She blinked in confusion, the car bouncing over a speed bump. Her eyes darted around, and her stomach twisted as she realized they were on an unfamiliar road. The streetlights were broken, and shadowy trees lined the isolated lane. She sat up, her voice firm. Excuse me, I think you are going the wrong way." The driver met her gaze in the rearview mirror, but he said nothing and pressed down harder on the accelerator. Olivia's heart began to race. She tried the door handle, but it won't budge. Her voice grew louder. "Stop the car." The driver ignored her. Desperate, she held up her phone. "I'm calling the cops." At this, the driver slammed the brakes, throwing her forward. Before she could react, he climbed out, wrenched her door open, and pulled her roughly from the back seat. His eyes glinted dangerously as he hissed, "Hand over your valuables if you want to live." Olivia took a deep breath, steadying herself. "I will call the cops. I have your cab number. They will find you," she threatened, trying to sound braver than she felt. The driver laughed, unfazed. "This isn't my cab. I took care of the driver and left him in the alley." He held up a small dagger, its sharp edge gleaming. "Now give me everything." With no choice, Olivia handed over her earrings and watch. When he demanded her silver pendant, a keepsake from her mother, she clutched it tightly, whispering, "Please, not this." But he snatched it away. "Now your money," he growled, waving the dagger closer. She took out some cash, handing it to him. "I know you have more," he demanded. She dug through her purse, pulling out a few more notes, some of which fell to the ground. As he bent to pick them up, his focus on the scattered bills, Olivia's fingers closed around the taser in her purse. She seized her chance, jolting him with a sharp zap that sent him collapsing to the ground. Without hesitation, Olivia jumped over him and swiftly pulled zip ties from her purse. In smooth, practiced movement, she bound his hands and feet, pinning him to the dirt road. The driver cursed and howled, but Olivia's face remained calm, her gaze ice cold. She leaned down, her voice barely a whisper in his ear. "You should not have picked me tonight." Fear washed over the driver's face, his earlier confidence evaporating. "Please, let me go," he begged, his voice trembling. A chilling smile crept across Olivia's face. "You're my second kill tonight," she murmured, locking eyes with him. Her fingers tightened around the dagger as she moved in, and the night fell silent.